This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jennifer LaGrassa. Katerina is away. The list of suspects in the murder case of a Windsor man continues to grow. 2 are already in custody, and now a third person has been arrested by Windsor police in connection to the death of 37-year-old David Paveo. Windsor police have arrested 61-year-old Ronald Holman and have charged him with accessory after the fact to murder and indecent interference with a dead body. 40-year-old Jason Vincent Smith is also wanted on the same charges. Police have issued a warrant for his arrest, and police say they are still looking for another man known to them only as Colin. 2 other Windsorites were arrested last week. One of them is 54-year-old Shane Lassiter, who has been charged with first-degree murder. Paveo was last seen alive in August, and while a murder charge has been laid, police have yet to find his body. But days ago, the Ontario Provincial Police said they found human remains connected to this case in Northern Ontario. As sporting events go, it couldn't have been bigger or more exciting. People across Canada are still buzzing with excitement after the Toronto Blue Jays clinched the American League Championship Monday night, taking them to the World Series. A come-from-behind victory thanks in large part to a 3-run homer late in the game. Jamie Strassen now on the hit that sent the crowd into a frenzy at the Rogers Centre.
Down 3-1 in the 7th inning, the end of a magical season appeared imminent. But with 2 base runners on, enter George Springer.
He's in a position to tie the game up and possibly send this Blue Jays crowd into a frenzy.
He did more than tie it.
And a swing and a fly ball to left field. Back goes Rosarena. She's gone!
The 381-foot blast set off a sustained frenzy.
So happy for everybody here, our fans, our city, our country. This is for them.
As the ball cleared the wall, the Jays dugout erupted like little leaguers.
When you see players and coaches reacting the way they did, kind of surreal in the moment when you're witnessing a historic swing for the organization.
In the stands, Michael Angeletti saw the ball soaring towards his seat in the left field bleachers.
My baseball-savvy seatmates, who I didn't know because I went to the game solo, they instantly were tracking the ball. I was watching them track it. That gave me a minute to half put on my glove.
When the ball finally landed, chaos. The Springer dinger instantly part of Blue Jay lore, alongside Roberto Alomar's homer in 1992.
And this game is tied. 1-1 for Tyson.
Jose Batista's bat flip in 2015. And, of course, Joe Carter's 1993 World Series winner.
Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
I can only say one thing to George Springer. Welcome to the 3-run homer club.
This one propelling the Jays back into the World Series for the first time since Joe touched them all.
He's been doing it his whole life. There's nothing bigger than that one right there.
Jamie Strassen, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, it's a bit more complicated for Windsor sports fans whose loyalties usually lie with the Detroit Tigers. But with the team out, people here are rallying behind the Jays. Jason Vio reports.
And a swing and a fly ball to left field. Back goes Rosarena. She's gone!
The only thing better than that in Toronto history is Joe Carter's game winning home run in 92.
The moment of last night's game that gave the Toronto Blue Jays the lead over the Seattle Mariners and eventually allowed them to win.
Okay, so what do you want to get? 2 hats?
Bob Reams Sports is already fielding calls today about the Blue Jays ALCS merch, with people pre-ordering. That's expected to arrive this week, and an even bigger boom for business is expected if the Jays can win the World Series.
That would be enormous for us.
There are some divided loyalties in a border city like Windsor that has strong ties to Detroit sports teams as well as Canadian ones. Some diehard Tigers fans are even watching and throwing their support behind the Jays.
So excited for them. I'm so excited for Canada because they've become the sports team of our country right now.
If the Jays are still in and the Tigers are out, then I'll throw my support behind the Jays, absolutely. Yeah. You know, Canadian team, and we'd just like to see them go deep. So
I'm happy to be supporting them now, But the thing is, I'm still a diehard Tiger fan, right?
And it got me thinking about NHL hockey too, and whether or not that same sort of phenomenon would carry over. And I think the overwhelming response was no, it wouldn't. That there's not a lot of Wings fans who would get behind the Leafs in a similar type of situation. Yeah. But it's an interesting phenomenon, I think, when you're talking about baseball, and I honestly don't know why that is.
The Jays are advancing to the World Series for the first time since 1993. That starts on Friday against the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers are gunning for their own back-to-back title and will be playing in the World Series for the 5th time in 9 seasons.
Everybody's making this out like it's going to be this huge David and Goliath thing, but if you look at what the Jays did to the Mariners, they did what the Tigers couldn't do, and they hit in clutch situations.
Jason Vio, CBC News, Windsor.
Colette Kennedy is here. Colette, the Jays are on fire, but it looks like things are cooling down for us here in Windsor weather-wise.
Yeah, nice segue. That's right. We're getting into, some temperatures closer to seasonal, although we had something kind of spring-like or summer-like going on today in terms of some of the active thunderstorms rolling through. Severe thunderstorm warnings that were in play have all been lifted at this time as this line is weakening, but still looking at a special weather statement for the gusty winds. So those southwesterly winds, 70 to perhaps even up around 85 kilometers per hour. And we did have a wind gust between 80 and 85 kilometers per hour. So you can see why that special weather statement. So there's that line as it was rolling through, some of these lightning strikes associated with it as well. I'll back off here so you can get a better perspective, because there's still a little more to come behind that line. It will be weaker as it comes through, not as heavy with the downpours either. But no, there's still wet weather for us. 7 degrees tonight, 12 tomorrow in this unsettled pattern. How long is it going to stick around? I will fill you in when I come back.
Okay, thanks, Colette. We'll talk to you soon. General Motors is pulling the plug on its electric van production at its plant in Ingersoll, Ontario. The company says it's due to low market demand for the EV delivery van. Ottawa says it's joining forces with the Ontario government and the Auto Workers Union to push for new production at the plant.
We are creating a response group to make sure that we're bringing a new model, because the 1,200 workers at the Ingersoll plant need to know that we're fighting for their jobs.
Some 1,200 people have been temporarily laid off since May and could now lose their jobs. They will receive 6 months' pay as well as other supports. While there are no firm plans for the plant, GM says it remains committed to discussions about its future and insists the move has nothing to do with Trump's tariffs of the trade war. The town of LaSalle has a new councillor. Mike Sagan has been elected to replace Sue Desjardins, who died this past spring. Sagan says one of his top priorities is keeping municipal taxes affordable.
There becomes a breaking point, because a lot of the things that I heard was from seniors particularly, who hope to retire and stay in LaSalle for their whole life. They're finding it difficult to manage in some instances, and wonder if they can stay in a town like LaSalle.
Sagan is a retired school superintendent and former president of LaSalle Minor Hockey. Of the 3,400 votes cast, he received about 1,200 of them. Overall voter turnout was 12.5%, but turnout in municipal by-elections tends to be low. The town voted online for the first time ever, something Sagan said he supports. The Windsor Regional Hospital Foundation opened a newly renovated space.
It is so important to families because there aren't a lot of places within the hospital where you can, there's to go outside. Sometimes it's cold. This space was beautiful many, many years ago, but like everything else, it had been dated. And when we came in here and looked at it, and we realized that there wasn't really some beautiful aesthetic spaces where patients and their families could come together. And now I've popped in from time to time, and there's families that are sharing a meal, or somebody who is doing some work, or the kids that are bringing their board games and playing in the kids area.
The area is meant to be a distraction-free zone where patients and their families can come together. More than $100,000 was donated to renovate the space, which also includes an outdoor patio that will be available weather permitting. She was an unmistakable character around Windsor, much like Feather Hat Guy. Windsor's dancing queen, Joanne Brent, died October 5th at 78 years old. Now, you may not have known her name, but there's a good chance you had seen her tearing up the dance floor. CBC Windsor spoke to City Councillor Ronaldo Augustino, who met Brent years ago when he owned the Boom Boom Room on Olette Avenue.
She was a legend. She was a downtown fixture, and she came in every weekend, and she would always have one drink, and all she wanted to do was dance. Oh, everybody loved her. She always came in funky costumes, and she was, part of the vibe. She was part of the excitement that when you walked in there, you knew you'd see the Boom Boom Dancing Queen up in her corner, and she was almost, and I hate to say it, but I say it with all due respect, she was almost like a downtown mascot. She was just somebody who, whether you were from Windsor or whether you were coming to Windsor from Michigan, everybody knew the Dancing Queen. And when there was a big show coming up or something that, people really wanted to see, it was like comforting almost, in a sense that you'd show up at the club and she was ready to go and she got the party started. And when there was nobody else dancing in the club, she was the first one on the dance floor. And I know DJs appreciated that. It was her personality. And that's a great way to put it. She was an infectious person. She brought love to the dance floor, and clearly she brought love to a lot of people in this world, and she'll sorely be missed, but she'll be remembered.
It's the most wonderful time of the year if you love watching movies. The Windsor International Film Festival kicks off on Thursday. The festival director shares his top picks alongside those from our cinephile, Dawson Chen.
The 2025 edition of the Windsor International Film Festival begins this week. From October 23rd to November 2nd, it's 11 days of movies from around the world and from every genre, right here in downtown Windsor. This year's schedule includes 231 feature titles. Of course, Vincent Georgi, the festival's executive director and chief programmer, believes every screening is worth attending. But I asked him to sit down with me and for each of us to pick 3 showings we're especially excited about. Vincent's first choice.
I'd recommend the great Canadian film that is called You Are Here, a Come From Away documentary.
It's the story of the tiny community of Gander, Newfoundland, where planes were diverted due to the 9/11 attacks. The generosity of Gander residents to house and feed thousands of surprise guests inspired a hit musical. What makes the WIF screening special is that it's hosting its own special guests.
It's actually a reunion. We are reuniting a whole delegation of folks from the film, from Gander, who are all flying in, and folks from New York that are coming in. So it'll be really emotional and uplifting and powerful, and I think it's a story really bit of our common humanity, which we need now more than ever, to be honest. So my next pick is Sentimental Value, which is a terrific film that world premiered at the Cannes Film Festival.
This Norwegian-English dramedy stars Stellan Skarsgård as a man trying to reconnect with his 2 estranged adult daughters. It's been drawing rave reviews for its acting performances.
This is also a major Oscar contender. There's a world where the 4 people, the main principals, will all be nominated for Oscars.
Vincent's third pick.
It is the film After the Hunt with Julia Roberts and Andrew Garfield.
A psychological thriller, the film centers around an allegation of sexual assault at Yale University.
And it is in a post-Me Too, post-cancel culture world. It's a film that gets into some pretty messy territory, and that's what makes it actually pretty interesting. This is a film that will stick with people, and that's why we chose it as the closer.
My choice is the documentary by Windsor filmmaker Matt Gallagher, Shamed.
Oh, yes.
Shamed investigates Jason Nasser, the man behind Creeper Hunter TV, an online channel that purported to expose men who sought sex with minors. Some of the outcomes of the channel were mob justice and suicide. The Windsor-made documentary asks the difficult question, can we sympathize with those accused of predatory behavior? For my second choice,
it's kind of a stylized documentary, but it's also about a kind of touchy subject, modern horror.
Toronto writer Andrea Werhunt stars in this film, which is based on her real-life experiences as a call girl. It strives to be a frank but funny look at sex work from the perspective of a young woman who journeyed in and out of prostitution on her own terms. And finally, the centerpiece screening of WIF 2025.
It's Ai Weiwei's Turandot.
This documentary takes us behind the scenes when the famed Chinese pro-democracy artist and activist Ai Weiwei was asked to direct Puccini's opera Turandot for the official opera house in Rome. The screening will include a live opera program with onstage performances of excerpts from Turandot.
Thank you very much for your time.
Awesome, anytime, of course. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Can't wait.
It's going to be some fun.
A look outside there, those clouds and winds rolled on in. We're going to have more news coming up, so stay with us. Welcome back. Canada's Auditor General report says people are waiting too long on the phone when calling the Canada Revenue Agency and were often offered inaccurate information. It also flagged failings around military recruitment and housing. David Thurton has the details from Ottawa.
The Canada Revenue Agency usually does the auditing, but not today.
We are here to discuss the findings.
Canada's Auditor General released a report on Revenue Canada.
There's probably not an MP in the legislature that hasn't received calls about the slowness at CRA.
Why should Canadians tolerate this unacceptable service?
The audit found Canadians are waiting far too long on the phone. In June, only 5% of calls met the agency's 15-minute service standard. When callers get through, some receive wrong information.
They should expect that the Canada Revenue Agency will be available in a timely fashion and provide them with accurate information. And what we're seeing is that is not the case.
What is CRA going to do to fix it?
Liberal ministers say they're working on solutions.
It's been very, very clear that the service levels have not been where they should be. So we have instituted a 100-day plan.
The Auditor General also released reports on the state of the military, one on recruitment, the other on housing. Both, she said, are linked.
The Canadian Armed Forces isn't recruiting enough members, and then they don't have enough housing for them. So this is going to impact retention.
According to one report, thousands apply annually, but only 1 in 15 progress. Also, the military is not tracking why potential applicants abandon their applications. Those that make it through find not enough housing and poor conditions, something this veteran and MP has raised.
Troops that are living in barracks, they're finding that they don't have hot water, mold, mice, rats, unsafe electrical equipment.
This is long overdue. For decades now.
The defense minister says the new Liberal government is looking at ways to accelerate military housing retrofits, saying overall, previous governments have underinvested in the Canadian Armed Forces. David Thurton, CBC News, Ottawa.
If it felt like your money didn't stretch as far as usual last month, you weren't alone. Statistics Canada says the cost of living rose in September, higher than expected, and on goods and services that are almost impossible to avoid. Alison Northcott reports.
It's at the grocery store where many Canadians are feeling rising prices most.
Food prices are absolutely ridiculous. Personally, I like to try to have some sort of a healthy diet, and with even trying to maintain any type of social life and pay rent, it just seems like it's almost impossible.
Some find ways to cope with the costs.
They have a place where they show you things that are about to expire maybe in 1 or 2 days, and they're like a little less pricey, and I usually go for that.
The Consumer Price Index rose 2.4% year over year in September, with grocery prices up 4% and rents up 4.8%.
Food prices are volatile in Canada, and so some of the components that saw upward pressure in September are some of those volatile components. So vegetable prices was a big one.
When it comes to rents, Quebec saw the highest rate of inflation, up 9.6% year over year across the province.
It's definitely preventing people being able to make rent once a month.
Montreal housing advocates say it's part of a continuing trend, putting increasing pressure on households.
People are making choices, they're having to choose between paying their rent or buying their groceries. It's a situation that's become really untenable.
Her group says Quebec's rent control laws need to be strengthened to keep rents from climbing even higher. But economists say there are other factors affecting those prices too.
Ownership prices in some Quebec markets, including Montreal, have been on a tear compared to some of those other major Canadian markets, and that could be keeping some interested buyers in the rental space.
Last month, the Bank of Canada cut its interest rate, pointing to a weaker economy and a lower risk of rising persistent inflation. These latest numbers will factor into its next interest rate announcement next week. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
We'll be right back with your full weather forecast, so stay with us. We've got a little time lapse here of what we just saw about an hour ago with those winds and those waves picking up in the Detroit River. Our video producer Mike Evans captured that for us on the tower cam. Colette Kennedy is back with us. Colette, are we expecting more of that? What's going to happen for the rest of this week?
Yeah, everything is kind of weakening with that particular line, and that's why the severe thunderstorm warnings were lifted. I love that kind of imagery because another thing it really shows very well is, when we're on the ground and we look up at the clouds, you can tell they're at different levels, but it's harder to see. And with that, you could see the low levels of the stratus, and then you get into the cumulonimbus. That it's really cool to see how the clouds stack up in the atmosphere above us. Now, what can we still deal with? Well, some strong winds. So the special weather statement has not been lifted. That's still in place for those southwesterly winds gusting from 70 to, we'll say 85 kilometers per hour, because guess what? Winds are, yes, with that gust at 83, pretty strong gusts into Chatham-Kent as well, and even over towards the Niagara region, over 50. Not quite as impressive as over 80, but over 50 there for St. Catharines. So a look at our temperature now. It's been knocked back down to 10 degrees with that line that's gone through. This is the stronger line, and you see right there all those blue lightning strikes. With the sun setting, we tend to see all this kind of weakening. So there's still more to come, but those lightning strikes in this next line diminished and all but disappearing. Just the wet weather that we will have from time to time over the next few hours and into tonight. So that is in your forecast, and it doesn't go away after tonight. I got to put that in there for tomorrow and a portion of Thursday and Friday. We are into this, we have this upper trough, and with that spin, that counterclockwise spin, and the air temperature at this time of year, the water temperature, that instability as it pushes across the lakes, we get into all these lake effect showers. And so you do get some breaks in here. I think tomorrow afternoon we could get into some sunshine, but early likely some showers. Thursday, cloud cover, might be drier earlier, then some scattered showers are going to come in the afternoon, and Friday's kind of the last day. The chances diminish for rain, but it's still going to be in there. Your lows overnight tonight, pretty mild. 6 to 8 degrees or so, 12 degrees though for the high. And look at these temperatures through the rest of the week in terms of the daytime highs. These are knocked back not only close to seasonal, even a tiny bit below here. And Friday, yeah, we'll eventually get into that sunshine, but still a slim chance of showers there. Perfect timing, though, for the weekend, right? We'll dry out and break out then.
Sounds good to me. Thanks, Colette.
You're welcome.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Have a good night.